Today's video is brought to you by Spikes Academy, which is launching a new course, The Art of Sideboarding with Seth Manfield, and the first 200 students can get 15% off with the code SIDEBOARDING. You can join the academy at spikesacademy.com. Hello everyone, it's Seth. Probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Fishbowl Thursday here in Instant Deck Tech land, and we have a spicy legacy list to look at today. So this deck, it comes to us from Talos 3343. So congrats to Talos 3343 on sending in a really sweet deck. And I gotta say, Talos said that this deck had taken them to 2 4-1 finishes in competitive legacy leagues on Magic Online. So Fishbowl Thursday, the quality of the decks or competitiveness of the decks sometimes varies. Some of them are untested or we don't know if they've been tested. This one, a couple of 4-1s is pretty impressive. I mean, not quite a 5-0, but still 2 4-1s with a super spicy off-the-wall legacy deck. Pretty impressive. So congrats to Talos, and also if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave me that link in the comments or email me, saffronolive@MTGGoldfish.com. So let's talk some Esper Orb for Legacy. So Esper Orb starts off with Torpor Orb, which is our namesake card. Basically, this is kind of a weird combo deck where the combo is having a way to prevent enter the battlefield triggers, reverse Panharmonicon, we like to call it here on the YouTube channel, but a way to prevent those triggers and then creatures that have normally detrimental enter the battlefield triggers. So number 1, Torpor Orb. Number 2, we have Tocatli Honor Guard. So 5 Torpor Orbs in all. In general, Torpor Orb is better because Tocatli Honor Guard dies to Lightning Bolt and Fatal Pushes and Swords to Plowshares. Torpor Orb, especially in the main deck, a little bit harder for most decks to kill. So step 1 of our deck, find a Torpor Orb effect. Step 2 of the deck is play massive creatures that are way undercosted that normally do really bad things when they enter the battlefield. So in Legacy, the best option here is Phyrexian Dreadnought, which is absurd. It is a 12/12 trample for 1 mana. It's basically a trampling Death Shadow that does not make us lose any life when it enters the battlefield. It is just, the stats are insane. However, normally when it comes into play, you gotta sacrifice 12 powers worth of creatures or sacrifice Phyrexian Dreadnought. Well, in this deck, if we have our Torpor Orb out or our Tocatli Honor Guard out, we don't need to do that. It's just a 12/12 trample for 1, which is pretty absurd. In theory, this deck can, on turn 1, play Torpor Orb and also play a Dreadnought and start beating down for 12 right away. Our backups, we have some Hunted Horrors, which, just a 7/7 trample for 2. Not bad. Normally gives our opponent a bunch of protection from green Centaur tokens, but if we have our Torpor Orb, that's not happening. And then on the top end of our curve, we have Eater of Days, a 9/8 flying trample for 4 that normally makes us skip our next 2 turns. Incredibly brutal, but with Torpor Orb, that's not a problem. So that's the plan of the deck. Get down with Torpor Orb, cast these massive creatures really quickly, smash our opponent's face to win the game. We also have Enlightened Tutor, which is kind of the card that holds this deck together. Enlightened Tutor, for 1 mana, at instant speed, finds our Torpor Orb, and if we already have Torpor Orb, we can use it to find our Phyrexian Dreadnought or even our Eater of Days, so it gets both halves of our combo essentially. Otherwise, Brainstorm, Ponder, just add consistency, keep us churning through our deck, finding our combo pieces, protection for our combo pieces, eventually threats to win the game. Then we have some removal in Swords to Plowshares and Fatal Push, just ways to kill pretty much anything in the format. Swords gets literally everything, Fatal Push most anything and doesn't make our opponent gain life. Force of Will to protect ourselves from unfair combo decks, can also protect like our Dreadnoughts, our Torpor Orbs. 1 copy of Spell Pierce. Then we have our fast mana. So Lotus Petal, Ancient Tomb, these are the cards that let our deck explode out of the gate. For example, turn 1, Ancient Tomb, tap it, we can play our Torpor Orb, Lotus Petal, sack it, we can play a Phyrexian Dreadnought. We have a turn 1 12/12 trample. Most decks in the format are going to struggle to beat that. Maybe we even have Force of Will backup. So it just gives us really fast explosive starts. Otherwise, mana base, some fetch lands, some dual lands, some basic lands. In the sideboard, we get Hushwing Grift and Reanimate to support our combo. So Hushwing Grift, additional Torpor Orbs essentially post-board. If our opponent's bringing in Artifact Destruction to deal with our Torpor Orbs, we can counter that by bringing in Hushwing Grifts, which dodges Artifact Destruction. Reanimate can get back dead Dreadnoughts or whatever from our graveyard. A bunch of graveyard hate with Surgicals and Rest in Peace. Chalice of the Void, back to basics, are jank 'em out cards that can just lock some decks out of the game. More removal in Path, Toxic Deluge is a Wrath, Vindicate hits anything, Thoughtseize for turn 1, disrupting our opponent, and that is Esper Orb for Legacy. And that's our instant deck tech for today. So thanks again to Talos for sending it in. And once again, if you'd like your own deck considered for a future Fishbowl Thursday, leave me that link in the comments or email me, saffronolive@mtggoldfish.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.